similar, so I'm just going to scan through. Um, all right, so there's been conflicting articles I have seen before where it says that he was last seen in October, but some articles do say November. However, he was not reported until March. Um, and then they lied about his whereabouts, etc. And they figured out that he was indeed not in Mexico. And they're working with the Indian government to have Rodriguez Singh and her husband Arshdeep Singh extradited back to Texas. So yeah, this is the same statements that she made. I want her brought back so she can tell us where Noel is, said Noel's mother. Okay, Cindy, I'm sorry, is Noel's mother. This is the grandmother speaking. Where is he? What was the reason? He was a boy. He didn't deserve the bad fortune she gave him. He was an innocent child. Poor boy. This is kind of what we were going through in the last article. So give me a moment and I'll pull up the next one. Um, Yeah, I don't know how that got muted. I don't know if any of you even read that along with me. It was a lot, and I'm not going to read all that again. Um, but oh geez, yeah. So anyway, basically, it's a lot of devotion to this Santa Muerte, who they believe will, like this article was saying, they believe that Santa Muerte will tell them where the money is if they worship, this deity they're calling it. I kind of skimmed through here because this was another story of a family who sacrificed 2 10-year-old boys and a 54-year-old woman. And what I was pointing out here or somewhere in this article was that he was buried in dirt. And it just reminds me of Noel's case. It reminds me of the dirt under the concrete that she recently poured. Um, I do know that they said no remains were found, but there were remains at one time. So that just leads me to believe that, I mean, he was there at one point. And okay, so skimming back through this one. So she's a female deity and folk saint in folk Catholicism. It is not uncommon for the drug cartels to create a shrine around the deity, also known as Our Lady of Holy Death, and place the severed heads of their victims as offerings. I might have already gone through this one. Also, seem to be have been on mute for a while, which is why this was supposed to be a recording and not live, and I have not yet figured that one out yet. So yay for me. This is what I get for going live early in the freaking morning. So I am sorry if y'all missed out on all of that. I do apologize. And I'm going to drop the links to some of these articles if you're interested in reading. Hi, Alice. Good morning. I'm sorry you didn't miss much because apparently I was muted for most of it. I have not figured out this pre recorded thing. I end up always doing a live broadcast and I messed it up. so, but basically, there there hasn't been an update with Noel. However, the family did have a lot of items and stuff in their home that are related to the Santa Muerte. It's very disturbing because they use they worship this like a narco saint, it's called, and it's a religious movement that the cartels worship, craving for riches, protection, and the silence required to conceal their illegal dealings in return. So it just makes me wonder, what did this parent do um, to Noel? Did she sacrifice him in exchange for thinking she was going to get money? It's just very, very disturbing. Let me see if I can find anything on him like recently. This one might help if it'll load. All right, so let me present this one, and I'm making sure that I am not muted because I suck at this. Make sure I'm not muted this time. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is an older article from 2013. From 2013, Santa Muerte inspired and ritualistic killings. And this is the first time I've heard of anything like this, so this is really new to me. It's very, very disturbing. Blood baptized in a shroud of human skin, raise your wings as we celebrate the dead. Sacrifice in the honor of your wealth. Reward us now and triumph we behead. Oh, that's sickening. So the narcotics wars in Mexico have increased in scope and intensity, beginning with President Felipe Calderon's December 2006 de facto declaration of war against the cartels and gangs. The deployment of Mexican military forces in counter organized crime and stability and support roles directly responded to the loss of the country's control within many regions, identified as areas of impunity of the country. Since this conflict began, over 45,000 people have died in the fighting, and the areas of impunity have grown to include wide swaths of territory constituting hundreds of locales now under control of the cartels. The criminal insurgencies waged by the cartels and gangs centered on a strategy of securing non governmental interference with their illicit narcotics and other criminal economic activities, have received much attention and debate. Far less has focused on some of the darker, spiritualistic parts of the drug wars. One component entails the rise of the cartel and gang neurocultura, drug culture, variants of the cult of Santa Muerte, literally translated as Holy Death. This variant of the cult promotes greater levels of criminality than the more mainstream and older forms of Santa Muerte worship. Sometimes it can be so extreme that it condones morally corrupt behaviors, what many people would consider as resulting from an evil value system that rewards personal gain above all else, promoting the intentional pain and suffering of others, and even viewing killing as a pleasurable activity. While addressing the rise of such dark spirituality requires a balanced perspective, e.g., avoiding a repeat of the Satanism scare of the 1980s, enough ritualistic behaviors, including killings, have occurred in Mexico to leave open the possibility that a spiritual insurgency component of the narcotics wars now exists. Not all of the narcotics leaders, their foot soldiers, and assassins have remained religious or alternatively embrace secularism. Secularism. Sorry, you know how I am with pronunciations. But evidence suggests that the numbers of deflections to the cults that worship a perverted Christian God and the various unsanctioned saints have grown for years, and one of those is the Santa Muerte. Um, this is a lot of reading, but it's really really dark. Um, Sorry y'all, it's early and this is a lot of reading, but I can leave this link for anybody who's interested. Santa Muerte rituals vary, and worshippers disagree about some of the symbolism and the proper procedures to gain the spiritual and physical results petitioned. However, adherents generally consider Santa Muerte a jealous and vengeful deity who demands that her followers conduct the rituals and sacrifices properly to avoid her divine wrath. Candle magic, herbs, oils, amulets, spiritual energy, and various mystical items play an important role. Often, the colors and mixtures of items employed determine ceremonial intent and arrangement of the altar. Components of the rituals also hold importance. Candles help to focus worshiper concentration and act as a conduit so that Santa Muerte receives the prayers. Smoke blown, alcoholic drinks spit out, and narcotics smeared on statues are thought to help activate them. The bases of candles and statues also may have items or artifacts embedded in them and may be anointed with oils and herbs to enhance their power. More extreme forms of worship involve bowls of blood, animal and human, at the altars and smeared on the religious icons and on the devotee as part of a blood pact. So that's sickening. So, yeah, this is just a little insight into several of the findings that they found inside the home when they were looking for Noel. Like you heard the police chief say, it seems like they were, deeply following this Santa Muerte. And it's just so sad and heartbreaking to me that they can sacrifice their own child, someone she thought, and the grandmother has heard her say that he was evil, he was possessed, and that she thought he was going to cause harm to her twins that she was pregnant for at the time. So it just breaks my heart. Again, I want to apologize for those coming in when you go back. It will be silent. I do have an article on the screen. You can read along and pause if you would like. Um, did any of you hear any of the videos and articles about the grandmother's statement? Because if not, I am so sorry. And I don't know if I'm going to leave this live up because I messed up so bad. But I do apologize. Um, Hello, Morning Dove. Good morning. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this morning. My co host is currently asleep at the moment, but I'm pretty sure we're going to go live later with other content um, based on maybe a little bit of Kylie Rodney stuff that I've come across. I just have to gather content and also wake up since I'm clearly not fully awake this morning. But yeah, so as far as I know, as in updates, they are going to continue their searches this week. They've been talking to different people. Different interviews have led them to possible different locations. So I'm praying that they end up finding the right person that can lead them to at least where Noel's remains are and what happened to him. And I pray that the extradition process is quick so they can get them back here for their um, to be held accountable, to face what they need to be facing for this sick and dark and twisted murder of innocent little 6-year-old Noel Rodriguez. He has pulled at my heartstrings since the first time that me and Sifa covered his case. It's just, it's really, really sad. If anyone wants to have a look at Santa Muerte worship, it's everywhere in Mexico City. There's even a museum in addition to all the shrines for people to visit. Yeah, and it seems like it's growing, they're saying, across the United States. That's probably what y'all couldn't hear because I was muted. But yeah, it's just, it's very disturbing. Nightbot is still asleep. I wouldn't doubt it. He's like, you're never up this early. Go to bed. But yeah, it's very, very disturbing, guys. And I just want to know what happens to Noel. I just want to know where he's at. I want these parents held accountable. And that's pretty much, all I have to say. Because it just breaks my heart. Every day I look for updates on this little boy, and I'm hoping and praying that they find something, some kind of closure, some kind of answers. Thank you, Bill. I'm really hard on myself, and that's not the first time that I was muted. It's just really upsetting because I like to engage with you guys, and yeah, I'm sorry. Right, Crumb and Crochet? I think I'm going back to sleep. What do you mean? I'm so tired. I had to get up early. I had an online. Ooh, excuse me. See, I need sleep. I had an online doctor's appointment this morning, and so I have to go get my prescription here in an hour or so. So I had to get up early anyway. But I think I'm going to nap eventually. But yeah, thank you, Bill Hurst, for the information. Yeah, you can go back and watch and pause and read the article of what the grandmother had to say. She's basically heartbroken. She's the one that has the three other siblings, and that at the time she couldn't take on anymore, and that she just wants her daughter back to the States. She wants her to face accountability for what she's done. So at least, we don't have like another parent that's trying to cover for their child. She's speaking up for her grandbaby, and I'm sure she's worried about her other grandbabies. If they're in their care and they're all the way in India, that has to be very disturbing and sad for them. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's early. I'm just all over the place this morning. But yes, the number of children going missing every day is very, very staggering. It's insane. It's insane. It's a major problem. There's many, many cases out there to cover. I'm going to try my best to try to get as much light on as many cases as I can, but I can only handle so much at one point, but we will continue to find missing persons cases, especially ones that are like fresh and new, because the very first few days are the very, very most important. So that might be something that we can look into to try to get fresh eyes on these cases as they're happening. Get if you get an Amber Alert or anything like that, post it on your socials as soon as you get it. You never know who will see something and say something. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. I'm going to try to get a little bit more sleep. I appreciate you guys for being here and being awesome as usual. Um, and I love you all. I appreciate the kind words and patience. Right, Belle? I completely get that. I get that. These moms that find a new partner and get rid of their own to get on with their lives. Yeah. Like, how do you do that? Your children are number one in your life. Like, you do not just toss them aside and like this mom has 10 kids and she chose the one that has some disabilities and she didn't want to deal with him. So, and I'm not accusing the mom of any kind of sacrifice or any of that nature, but the fact that you have all of this information, all of the items and things that were found in the shed that they were living in that point to this um what is it, spirit of death, Santa Muerte. It seems like they definitely were into that, and you just have to wonder, like, do you put, 1 plus 1 equals 2? And Noel is gone. Has he been sacrificed? I don't know. We know that we don't know where he's at. We know that they're looking at it as a homicide case, so you just have to wonder what happened. Will she even ever talk? Those are the things that we might not ever know, and those are the things that bother me the most. At this point, all I can hope for is that they find out what happened to him, find the location of his remains, and that way he can be laid to rest by, I'm sure, the grandmother, and they can, he can rest in peace, because it's just so sad. There's a 12-year-old girl, Ryan, who went missing in the last 24 hours. No Amber Alert. This is the critical window to find her. Belle of Amherst, where did she go missing from? And can you drop me an email? And I can try to get the information out there, even if I have to just post a video about it. We can definitely look into it. Right? What is going on with the Amber Alerts? The Amber Alert system is clearly broken. There should be no time difference between the call that my child is missing and an Amber Alert issue. Like, issue it immediately. Yes, Bella of Amherst. I do not mind any channels being named here. None of that bothers me. In fact, I like to promote other channels and creators because we are all out here just trying to do good for the world. So, yes, you're more than welcome to put that in the chat. Morning, Dove. Good morning. Thank you for keeping his name out there. Yes, ma'am, I definitely will always try. And just be warned, I was muted for about 9 minutes. So the articles that I was reading, you might have to pause to read. But yeah, there's that. Typical morning Daisy shenanigans. But But yes, definitely going to keep his story out there, Morning Dove. I'm not sure, Jim J. It's really sad. I believe it is Baltimore, Maryland. Arctic Fox covered it this morning. Oh, okay, yeah. Arctic Fox. Let me grab his YouTube channel. He or they always cover like all missing children's, and there's always so many. Um, Let me see if I'm grabbing the right one. Jeez. Okay. I can't find Arctic Fox's Facebook page. If anybody has it, please drop it in chat. I'm trying to find it, but I'm struggling this morning. Because I am finding Arctic Fox videos from National Geographic magazine. And I know that's not the case. Arctic Fox missing. Here we go. I found it. Arctic Fox True Crime. So this is where you can find the story of the article that Bella Amherst is talking about. She believes it's from Baltimore, Maryland. You're right, Jim J. I know. So yeah, if you guys can catch that one, share it on any of your socials. That would be amazing because these first hours are very crucial. But again, thank you guys for joining. I hope you all have a lovely day today. I'm going to go back to sleep, but I love each and every one of your faces. I appreciate you all for being here. And I'm just going to point out that I didn't see these, obviously, because I was too busy reading. I had to point that out. Thank you guys for trying to warn me. All right, you guys have a great day. Much love to you all. Stay blessed.